Hi all, Bones here from BSA Bantams, and welcome back to the workshop, welcome back to the channel. In this episode, more casting. So what has happened is I have done some analysis after the last cast and was going to change a few things up. However, I left the pattern on my workbench and it's been pretty hot here, and I think it's slightly distorted some of the fins, so I can't, it's pulling sand out in between the fins for some reason. I mean, I can see a little bit of distortion. That's the only thing I can put it down to. So I've had half a dozen goes at trying to set a mould and it just won't work. So I had another pattern that I have 3D printed, and I'll show you that in just a sec. So this is the new pattern I've done, and it is based on one I have out in the shed, but it was set up for methanol, so there's a very, very, very small combustion chamber, and I can't machine it out because there's not enough thickness in here. So I've sort of grabbed that design and modified it a bit. So I've made the centre a bit higher, little plug sitting up there, so once I machine out the back with my combustion chamber, I can get a long reach plug-in. So as you can see, not as many fins, with a bigger spacing in between, thicker at the base, thicker at the top as well. So we'll set this in the sand and we'll see how we go. So I've got the pattern set. I've got a sneaking suspicion my sands are fraction dry because it has been warm today. But we will give it a tap and see how we go. I think that's released straight off. So I'll see if we can get it out. Spot on. Very first pull. Now I thought in these sharp corners the sand would hang up, and it has a fraction, but not enough to worry about. There you go, pattern design. So that works well. Anyway, I'm going to have a go at trying to put it back in. Which is probably not something you're supposed to do, but well, looks like it worked. Well, I think I'll pack the rest of this box and throw some metal in and see how it goes. Okay. So the orientation of the fins is running this way, and a fair few people have commented and said, well, why don't you pour it in the direction of the fins? Well, guess what? I am. I'm going to give it a go, pouring with the fins and the way I have been doing it, pouring across. So I've 3D printed the base of the head, and I've also made this, which is my gate. So that'll get material right into the center. What I'll do is once it's set, I'll just trim out the sand around here, so I'll get a flow straight in the center, straight in the direction of the fins, and we'll see how it goes. So I'll put the cope on and we'll pack this. Oh, also I've made a new feeder with a longer angle as well, so that way I can pack in around it a lot easier. The last one I had was very squat with a bigger angle on it, so this one allows you to get in and pack around it. So all I'm doing now is just making sure my vents and sprue and feeder are all sort of positioned. I haven't whacked it down. It's not, they're just a bit of sand pushed around them so they just stay in position. So we have the cope set, so I'll just strike it off now, pull my vents, feeder and sprue out. Well, actually I won't pull the sprue out because I'll cut my pouring cup first. We'll keep going. Rightio, we've got that done. So vents, feeder out. I'll just give it another strike off. Rightio. I'll blow all these out once I get the cope and drag separated. Now I'm going to cut my pouring cup. Probably a bit deeper, I need it. That's better. I'll keep going on this. So I have cut my pouring cup, pulled the sprue out, and I'm also using the bigger sprue I made this time as well. I'm just about to separate the cope and drag. Just, oh, and that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. These little bits are hanging up here because the 3D print curled a bit on the edge, so that's no big one. It's no drama. I'll just give them a bit of a clean, and all these a bit of a blowout, and the gate, I'll give that a bit of a blowout. I'll bring it back once I get everything pulled out. That's looking good. Right, trying to sit this down so it doesn't get knocked down. Trying to get the pattern back out. See if it'll come out as easy as it did last time. I will give it a little tap. That's released straight off. The other thing I've done just off camera, as I said, the gate going into the centre boss, I've actually cut that through so we get a full flow going straight into the centre. So I'll just go back and take this out, hopefully without stuffing anything. And that's good. That's worked well. A few little crumbs in there that I'll just dust out. But that's good. Right. Right, so I've got the first one prepared, and from here, what I'm actually going to do is let them dry out. So from last time, all the fins not forming, and a few people have commented about actually oven baking or drying out the mould because the molten metal's hitting the fin, trying to feed into the fin, and it's got moisture in there and it's chilling it down. So part of the reason why the new pattern, slightly wider, get a bit more material in, a lot easier to pull out of the box, that's for sure. So I will set these up. I'm actually going to leave them overnight, and they're going to be in the sun. The boxes are black, and I'll cast tomorrow afternoon. So hopefully we'll get a bit of moisture content out of the moulds and see how we go. I mean, I haven't really had a win up until now, so I don't think it's going to do any harm. But the next box I pack, as I said, will be with the liquid feed, the molten metal feed in from going across the fins, and obviously this one's feeding in along the fins. So we'll see how we go. I'll pack that other box and we'll get all set up. Cope is packed on the second box. So just pull in the vent and the feeder, and I'll strike it off again. So then we'll give things a bit of a clean up underneath. Oh, actually, can't. Got to cut my pouring cup and put some vents in first. So we'll get that done. Okay, just pulling the second pattern now. I've just given a wrap. And 2 from 2. It's an omen. I'm telling you right now, it is an omen. Never before have I done that. Right, we'll just give that a light blowing off, and we'll take it out and set it up for tomorrow as well. It's bloody terrific. I'm just about to go outside and start setting up for the pour. Now, I've had heaps of suggestions after the last video I put up, and some really, really great ideas. So, as I've said, I've changed the orientation again of the pattern and the direction at which the metal will flow in on each box. So one flowing with the fins and one flowing across. So the one flowing across has got a larger vent, and the one flowing with the fins has 2 small vents at 90 degrees. Both of them have the same size feeder. The suggestion was that all my problems from the last pours that I've always done is the moisture content in the sand. So, as I said, these have been out and they've been air drying for 24 hours. I don't have an oven right at this stage to be able to put them in. I thought my stepson Justin's like smoker might have done it, but I'll be honest with you, I'm too worried about the sand dropping out and basically totally destroying his smoker. It'll get into all the drive and everything like that because it's got a worm drive and not too hard. I'll just air dry it. And changing the pattern, we'll see how things go. But all those suggestions that everyone's making, thanks very much. It's great input. People suggested using CO2 bonded sand. I'm 3 hours from Melbourne, so for me to go and access stuff like that is a whole day to drive there and back, and it's just too much of a pain in the bum. I'd rather go down this path at the moment and just see what I come up with. There's been some other great suggestions, and there's been other suggestions where I wish people had watched to the end of the video and seen the last pour, because it might have explained a bit about what we did. So anyway, no more talking. let's go out, let's bore. One other thing I forgot to mention, I forgot to punch vents into one of the boxes completely. I don't know why, I just didn't, but it's got the 2 vents in it, so we'll see if it works, but I can't go pressing it in now because the sand's too dry. It'll just push through. Anyway, we'll see what happens, eh? First of all, my apologies about the wind. As you can see, I forgot to bloody vent that box over there, but this one's done. It's just scratching in the corner here, and you can see the sand's pretty dry. I don't know if you're going to be able to pick it up on the camera, but the sand's actually pulled away from the edges of the boxes. They're actually shrunk. So I'm taking that as a good sign that we're getting water content out of the sand. So we've got metal in the crucible, and pretty soon we'll get a pouring. So as you saw, that one poured pretty quickly, and I'm pretty happy. You can't see them poking out of the vents, but they're only that far from the top of the vents. So in a while we'll see when I break it open, but first we're going to pour the other one. Pretty quick too. So second pouring went in pretty quick. You can just see it's come up through the riser, but I was tipping like buggery to get the metal in. Only one thing left to do now is to wait, break the boxes open and have a look. Right, so while we're waiting for the moulds to solidify, I just thought I'd show you a bit of an eclectic mix of Bantam heads I've got from back in the day. So I haven't had a look at these for a while, but if you have a look at this one, it's got pore fill all through these fins as well. So what that has done is made me feel a whole heap better about things, I can tell you, because they were having a bugger of a time trying to cast these back in the day as well. You can see the combustion chamber on this one is, I could possibly use it, but see, they've done it for a short reach plug, and I don't want a short reach plug. The other thing is, I don't want to modify these. I mean, they're possibly 70 years old, so, you know, I want to keep them for posterity. We've got a very similar one Same sort of profile, different cutaway in the bottom, probably for the carby that sat there or something like that. But I think it was cast by the same people looking at it. Slightly different one, and looks like someone's tried to put some sort of squish band in it. Once again, short reach plug. Yeah, you could go and weld them up and reprofile them and do all that, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to destroy these. Once again, whoever cast these had a bugger of a time too. Through there. Another slight variation that I think would have been originally the same but modified, and this one has a fair bit of porosity in it too. This one is actually done for a long reach plug, but I don't know if you can pick that up. It's got some pretty bad porosity in this. And I'll just check something out. Well, that's interesting. This has come out of a different pattern because it hasn't got that star-shaped cross through it, even though the fins look very similar. So that's a totally different one from someone else. And I'm going to hazard a guess someone's had a go at casting this themselves. Not much depth in that combustion chamber there, so I've got a sneaking suspicion this is a methanol one, as a couple of the others are, I think. But they've gone pretty thick on the fins, both at the base, sorry, at the root of the fin and up on the crest as well. But they look like they got full fill. Rightio. It's now time to go and break the boxes open and see what I ended up with. Okay, so we're about to break open the first box. So this is the box where we're going feeding in along the fins. Well, I've got full form on my fins. I'm just checking now to make sure it hasn't got any holes in it. This is pretty bloody exciting. I might have done it. Well, that's all right. I've done it. My wife's here clapping. She's been suffering for 8 months about this. I've done it. So there you have it, and it's a pretty good finish as well. The only thing is I've got some shrinkage there because I've offset the feeder, but I'm not too worried about that because I've got to machine that out for the combustion chamber, so that's not going to affect me. But it's filled all the way to the corners. I've got that's sand there. I'm not worried about that. That's sand there as well. So I've got it to fully fill. You beauty. Right, let's grab the next one. No, this one didn't work. Oh, this is interesting actually. So I've still got, this one didn't work. I don't know if you can see that. But I've still got that steam explosive sort of thing that's happened here. So this one is the feeder, the sprue and being fed across, and it's also in like the second fin. So it's a bit of a bastard because other than that it's spot on. But I've still got a bit of shrinkage on the back on this one too, which tells me my feeder's not big enough, and I did change the size of it, so we'll change that up for the next one. But anyway, right at this stage, I've got a fully functioning head. So, what wins the day? Obviously feeding in to the centre in alignment has worked. But in all fairness too, what happened between, that was cast first, this was cast second. So in between casting that and this, my thermocouple decided to shit itself. So I have no idea what my pouring temp was, which is a bit of a bugger. But anyway, I've ended up with the same fault as I have before. So we've got a recipe now to be able to cast. So I'll go away and I'll machine that up and see how it turns out. Oh yes, 8 months for a win. Well, not that one, but that one. Beauty. So I've just machined the spark plug hole and I'm about to go in and tap it now. And before anyone comments, I don't power feed. The machine's turned off up there. It's also out of gear. I never actually run in with a tap with the machine running. I only ever do it by hand. So in there is a arbor that I've screwed onto the spark plug hole that I've threaded there. I'm now going to face the gate off where the feeder is and face this surface here and then start my combustion chamber. All I'm doing now is checking where my start point actually is, and it'll be machining this one off first. Right. So that's our reverse side machined up. You can see this shrinkage area in here. You can see it's got some fine, very fine porosity in it, but generally it doesn't look too bad. I must admit I'm starting to shit myself about this, but we'll soon find out. So first process is I've got to do a counter bore out to here, so it's the spigot of the barrel can locate in centrally. Bore out the combustion chamber, do the squish band profile. So I'll get onto that. So barrel counter bore, this is the combustion chamber. That shoulder in there is where I'm going to go in with a radius tool so I can profile a radius right in the corner of the combustion chamber. Then we're going to go in and do our squish band. You wonder what this mark is around here, it's just kerosene. But there is only the very finest of porosity in that. I don't know whether the camera can even pick it up. But there's not much, and there's basically none. So now I've got that radius in there. I'll obviously give that a bit of a polish and a blend, but now I'm going to do the squish band through here. So that's our combustion chamber finished. So now it's on to drilling some holes in it for the studs. Okay, you can hear this white noise in the background, it's the fan because it's bloody hot in the shed at the moment. So I've got the head set up in the indexing head. I'm just about to mark out my hole centres for the studs. So basically what I do with the vernier height gauge is pick up the centre. I've got a little pointer that goes in, put the head in, set it up square, then I can reference half the stud spacing high and low and just scribe it, which I'll do right now. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm picking up the 1/4 inch hole like in the chuck to centre it, then drilling it out to the clearance size for the stud, and then I'm going in with the boring head, and I've just got to cut out the edge of the fins just a fraction to be able to fit the socket in. And the reason I didn't put it in the pattern is because it reduces the section of the fin. It makes it hard to cast. So I've got enough meat in there and I'll just machine it out. So I couldn't do all this in the indexing head around the other way because I can't get enough height out of the machine. So we'll get on to it. I've already drilled the hole out, and while it's all centered up, drop the boring head in and I'll look out the fins. There it is, folks, it's done. And I am exceptionally happy. It just fits perfectly on there. All my tolerances and things like that I am really happy with, because you've got to scale up to allow for shrinkage. Then you've got to have enough meat left on without having too much to be able to machine off. So everything has worked really well. So counterbore is done in there. This is spot on for a 17mm long reach plug. There's a happy boy here at the moment, I can tell you. So that fits on absolutely perfect. And I'll take off the stand. Sorry about unscrewing it and hearing it unscrew. But I've got my spacing spot on as well. Remember the last one, I just despised it, I hated it. So that looks really good. I am very happy. Well, I must admit, it's more than nice to have a win. This has been a bit of a journey to get to that stage. I know it's not the pattern I started off with, but I'm reasonably confident I could probably get that now. And the whole purpose of doing all this trying is to find the recipe, and I think now we've got the recipe. So I would apply that to the other pattern, which I will do soon. But the whole point is I'm trying to put a bike together. I can't put the engine together because I didn't have a head. Now I've got a head. I know it's not the original pattern that I used, but I've got a functioning head that I'm pretty happy with. I think it looks all right. So from here, I will build the engine up, we'll build the bike up, start doing some testing, engine testing, and make sure that the recipe that we've got for the rest of the engine works. Then we'll be back into some casting. So I may even attempt to cast the other heads as well, or I might just stick to this one because it's probably easier for the time being. But I'm not giving up on having a crack at casting the other head. It might not be right now because I've got so much other stuff on to do getting these bites together. I think I've earned one of these today. I'm about to have it too. It's been pretty bloody hot in the shed, but anyway, we've had a fantastic win. So, thank you very much to everyone who offered advice. Yes, some of it's taken on board, as you would know. I've had some really good advice that I'm going to apply, but I didn't apply it today when I cast, but I will in the future. To all my subscribers, thanks very much for sticking with me. Thank you everyone for the kind words of support as well. It's very much appreciated. And I really do hope you've enjoyed this video because I finally had a bit of a win. So it's nice if you stuck with me for about the last 14 that I didn't have a win. But as I said, it's all been a progression to get the recipe, and I think pretty confident we've got the recipe. And in soon enough, and I mean probably in the next few weeks, we'll have another crack at casting and reapplying that recipe and seeing if it works. So time to focus back on the bikes now. So a bit of work to do. So from Bones at BSA Bantams, thanks very much once again, and I'll see you later.